From all the things Scrub Daddy got right with its pitch to Kevin O'Leary forbidding the shark, to investing in the skinny mirror, here's how these Shark Tank businesses really performed after the show. Everyone here knows about Scrub Daddy, right? In 2012, the inventor of the viral cleaning product, Aaron Krause, went on Shark Tank looking to secure $100,000 against a 10% share of his company. Let's turn back the clock a little and talk about how a man working in the automotive industry came up with a cleaning product. According to Aaron, he wanted to create a product that could withstand heavy weights when dipped in cold water and turn into a regular sponge when dipped in warm water. A product like that would work well for cleaning up hard-to-scrub marks off a car, right? What Aaron found out by pure coincidence, however, was that his product worked well for just about everything. Once he realized how the sponge could revolutionize the cleaning industry for good, the automotive dealer decided to switch gears and enter the cleaning product business. Aaron came into the tank armed with a 10-pound weight and showed the sharks just how well the Scrub Daddy worked. He also brought his charming smile and charisma into the tank, which is always a bonus. Everyone wanted a piece of the pie except Robert and Mark, who bowed out, saying they didn't know much about the cleaning gig. Mark actually said he was tapping out because he didn't know many products that could do well with just QVC sales, something Lori Grainer rolled her eyes at. We were left with Kevin O'Leary, Draymond John, and Lori. Kevin was willing to invest $100,000 against 50% of the company, and Draymond said he'd partner with Lori for the other $50,000 against 15% each. But Lori didn't budge. She offered $100,000 for 30% of the company. This led to Draymond switching gears, and he countered with $125,000 for 25%, followed by Lori offering $150,000 for 25%, and then $200,000 for 25%. Draymond eventually admitted that he only took part in the bidding war to get Lori to up her offer. Unsurprisingly, Aaron went with Lori's offer after negotiating her stake down to 20%. The rest, as they say, is history. In 2023, Aaron's company had a net worth of $300 million. That's a pretty huge difference from the $120,000 in sales Aaron was boasting about when he entered the tank in 2012. Scrub Daddy quickly became one of the best-selling Shark Tank products of all time. In 2021, after accumulating over $926 million in sales, establishing factories all over the country, and selling out in QVC every single time, it was named the third best-selling Shark Tank product in history. Now let's talk about a product that didn't secure a deal, but did well for itself because of Shark Tank. Doorbot, a product that's installed in homes all across the United States. If the name doesn't ring a bell, it's probably because Jamie Siminoff has since renamed it to Ring Camera. Yep, that's the one. Jamie entered the tank in 2013, looking to secure a $700,000 investment against 10% of his company. He told the Sharks that the idea for the product came to him when he missed a very important delivery while working in his garage. That's when he realized it was an all-too-common problem. People would often complain of stolen or misplaced packages. Sure, there were security systems in place even then, but none of them were doing the job well. That was the point Jamie was trying to make when he started off his pitch with a knock-knock joke. An unconventional way to kick things off, but one that got everyone in high spirits right from the get-go. The product featured high-quality video along with two-way audio, something we hadn't seen in security cameras before. Unfortunately, Lori, Mark, Robert, and Draymond didn't see the product taking over the market. Ironic, isn't it? And we're out right away. Mr. Wonderful was the only one left in the tank, and he was willing to make an offer. He was willing to give Jamie the investment he wanted against a 10% stake that had dropped to 7% after the initial investment was recouped. Plus, he wanted 5% equity in the company. Jamie, however, didn't like the idea of a 10% cash flow when the company was only just starting. You have to remember that this was in 2013, when the company was barely making any sales. He declined Mr. Wonderful's offer and leaves empty-handed. Not for long, though. Jamie reported that Doorbot made $3 million in sales shortly after the episode aired. The inventor of the two-way audio-visual system had many offers pouring in from other investors. One of them was a future shark himself, Sir Richard Branson. In 2018, Jamie was contacted by Amazon, and they wanted to know if he was willing to sell his company. From humble beginnings on Shark Tank, Jamie was able to sell his company for close to $2 billion. His comeback story was one for the ages because he was actually featured as a special guest shark on Shark Tank in Season 10 and entered the tank to a standing ovation from the investors who'd rejected his pitch many years ago. That's something that could have helped save Adriana Montano's disastrous pitch for Gato Cafe. Adriana entered the tank during the Season 6 finale of the show, along with a few furry friends. She tried handing all 5 sharks a kitten to distract them with their cuteness while she made her pitch. Mark and Kevin, however, refuse and would rather talk business. Not a great start. Anyway, Adriana proposed the idea of opening up a cat cafe. But not just any cat cafe. One that would charge you a $9 admission fee. Also, if you feel a connection with any one of the cats, you get to take them home too. For an additional fee, of course. It looked like something Nick Woodman, Lori, and Draymond would be interested in for sure. But there was a problem. Gato Cafe hadn't made it off the drawing board at the time. That's right, Adriana was seeking a $100,000 investment against 20% of her cafe for a cafe that didn't even exist. This sent Mark into a fit of laughter, and in between, he announced he was out. Kevin said he didn't like cats to begin with and walked away from the idea. Draymond had an interesting thing to say. Why should they invest $100,000 for 20% in a cat cafe when they could use that money to start one of their own for 100%? Of course, Adriana didn't have an answer. Nick and Lori wished her well and said they'd visit Gato Cafe once it opened. But it was a no from them too. Speaking of which, did it ever open? Nope. As it turns out, Adriana had tried to crowdfund the cat cafe a year before her episode aired and only raised $1,000 against her goal of $75,000. It still wasn't as bad as Rolodoc's pitch, which Mark called the worst pitch in Shark Tank history. Brothers Richard and Albert Amini entered the tank seeking $50,000 against 20% of their company, Rolodoc. They pitched the idea of a social network between physicians and their patients, where they could exchange ideas, talk about new advances, and anything of that sort. To top it all off, the Amini brothers were both Arizona-based doctors themselves, but that's about it, as far as expertise goes. Mark had a sour look on his face from the minute they started their pitch. It was clear that the brothers didn't know what they were doing. They came up with an idea for an application that sounded eerily similar to Facebook, but was marketed to only doctors and patients. Speaking of which, they didn't really have much to say when Kevin asked them how they'd verify if the doctors signing up were actually professionals. They also didn't have an answer when Lori asked them how they'd ensure patient confidentiality. Mark didn't say anything, but when the rest of the sharks announced they were out one by one, he got up to shake the Amini brothers' hands and told them they'd just delivered the worst pitch in history. Rolodoc never got off the ground. The company has a Facebook page that's been dormant since the show aired, and that's about it for the doctor-patient social platform. Nothing, however, was as bad as the Skinny Mirror. Kevin actually forbade the other sharks from investing in Belinda Jasmine's company, calling it nothing but a lie. Belinda's pitch started with a video that showed her surfing, doing chores, and otherwise living an active lifestyle. It quickly turned into a monologue where she talked about how she, as do most people, suffered from body image issues. She also talked about how she'd once looked at herself in a very old mirror and was amazed at how she looked 10 pounds heavier. The truth was that the mirror had imperfections that made her misjudge herself. The answer would have been to invest in a new mirror, but Belinda decided this could turn into a business opportunity. Hence, the Skinny Mirror. It does exactly what it claims to, make you look 5 to 10 pounds skinnier than you actually are. Not only was this an unsettling claim for the sharks, but Kevin didn't like the idea that Belinda had only sold her units to retail stores. Kevin was right when he pointed out that it was based on a lie. The other sharks echoed his concerns, and Belinda didn't get the $200,000 against the 20% stake she was looking for. 7 months after her episode aired in 2015, the Skinny Mirror company shut down for good. Altogether, they'd made just about $85,000 in sales, selling 350 units to retail companies. After the episode, though, it seems like a lot of those mirrors were recalled out of fear of backlash. So, from Kevin O'Leary forbidding the sharks from investing in the Skinny Mirror to all the things Scrub Daddy got right with its pitch, that was how these Shark Tank businesses really performed after the show.